Hey guys, and welcome to the Fish Room. I'm Rachel O'Leary, and today is Thursday, and I'm preparing to travel to Aquatic Experience this weekend, where I'll be hanging out at the Aquaflora booth with all the other aqua girls, as well as at Awasi to do a Biorb display. I thought that today we would just take a quick look around, and I can show you some new fish that I've gotten, how the fish are doing that we moved in from the tubs this week and a few weeks ago, and just give you a few updates on some of the more popular projects around the room, like my 150-gallon hill stream, my sand aquarium, the penjang behind me, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So let's get started. So earlier this week I met up with a kind gentleman who had done some summer tubbing but didn't have an outlet for his fish. So the fish that he had available were standard white clouds, Tinichthys albanubes, like these guys, which if you guys have been around my channel for long, you know that I absolutely love. But I really wanted them to be able to show you guys the difference between the standard white cloud and the ones that I've been line breeding for several generations. We'll take a look at those in just a minute. The other fish that he had for me were one that I haven't really worked with, and I'm kind of excited about it because they're a US native and they're supposed to be exceptional algae eaters. And that is the Florida flagfish. Now these guys have only been in the aquarium for a couple of days, so I expect them to get even more attractive. But you can see that he had quite the success breeding them outdoors this year. And I'm really excited to work with them, do a species spotlight for you guys, and be able to offer a lot of them for sale. I just think they're really adorable. As with all fish that come into my fish room, these guys will be in a month of quarantine, a month of health of quarantine, even though they come from a source that I'm well familiar with and were home raised. I'd rather be safe than sorry before adding anything into any of my display aquariums. That being said, which tank would you like to see these guys in? As you know, I have quite a lot to choose from. Or would you like to see me build a new 20-gallon long habitat just for them? Let me know down in the comments below. And look how stinking cute these guys are. Oh my gosh. They have a real subtle spangling that I think is super attractive. Let me show you the white clouds that I've been breeding for a long time. So these are my line bred white cloud minnows. As you can see, their finnage is a lot longer. They're referred to as meteor minnows. And you can also see, instead of having white margins on the ends of their fins, they're a very, very vibrant yellow. Now most of these fish are only subadult. They're about half the size of the ones pictured above, but you can already see how much color they have and just how striking they are. And the reason why I've continued to maintain them year after year. I just really think they're super special, and a lot of time and energy has been devoted to maintaining this particular line in my fish room and outdoors. Just look at the colors on what is arguably a super, super common and easy fish. You could see how they would make such a stunning display. Now a lot of these I'll grow out to put into my Hillstream aquarium, but as we look around the aquarium from summer tubbing, you can see that there's quite a lot of juveniles, and those will be offered for sale at some point here in the near future. I also wanted to mention that this week I met up with another local guy who breeds fish, and he gave me quite a few more panda cories. Now I don't need these for my 75-gallon aquarium that I have them in, so these are another fish that will be available for sale. But just like every other fish, these guys are currently in quarantine for a month of health. They'll be available afterwards. And with pandas having the reputation for being fragile upon import, I think it's going to be really cool to be able to offer up a bunch of these tank raised guys to you guys. These are the yellow shrimp that I moved in from outside. As you can see, most of them have that really bold line down their back, which I particularly like and prefer in the yellow Neocaria shrimp. Now this aquarium I'm still working on cleaning up from moving them in from outside. There was quite a bit of suspended detritus in the container that they were in because there were so many shrimp. So I've been doing daily 10% water changes, vacuuming up a lot of this dirt. You can see that there's quite a bit of plant roots included in that, and all of that will be removed over the next week or so, and these guys should be available in the near future as well. I think you have to agree that their colors are really beautiful. These are the least killies that I moved in from outside. Most of them are pretty tiny, but there's a few adults in here. I'll continue to let these breed and grow out and then offer them later on. For now, I'm not in a hurry because I really enjoy them. And I am even considering setting up an aquarium just for them. You can see how tiny some of the fry are. Absolutely minuscule. These are my blue shrimp, and while I didn't have a bumper crop like I have in previous years, most of the females that I moved in are buried, so I expect their populations to increase quickly. Who knows, maybe some sort of aquatic predator like a dragonfly or damselfly got into that tub and ate their young. Regardless, the adults that I moved out look good, and their numbers did double, so it's not a total loss. Now, like the yellows, I got so many cherry shrimp from summer tubbing that I ended up splitting them into 2 colonies. I was worried about moving all of them into one, as I probably got about 1,000 shrimp from that tub, which was super incredible. So I moved a lot of them into this aquarium. And then if you guys have been around for a while, you'll remember my super old Metaframe aquarium that I've been maintaining with cherry shrimp from the early 2000s. And I decided to add some of the nicest ones from outside back into this colony. It never hurts to add a little genetic diversity. And as you can see, these guys are nice and cherry red.
And it was at this very moment that my mic died. So these are the Rhizos woolray, or Daisy's rice fish, as well as the CPDs. I'll likely hold on to most of these for quite some time, though I think I'm going to pull the CPDs for a dedicated breeding project, as so many of you are so enamored with them. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see.
As always, there's several spawns in the Shelly tank. Everybody's doing well. As you can see here. The 75-gallon sand tank is doing awesome. I did end up adding a Powerhead just because it seemed like most of the particulates were gathering on this section of the aquarium. And this way they get blown around and picked up by my sponge filter. Now the Powerhead does also have a sponge pre-filter. I cut a piece of aqua clear foam to fit it. But I wanted to show you how nice the Espys look. Really, really, really beautiful. So while they didn't really produce any fry outside, they are adding the pop of color that I wanted in this aquarium. As you can see, the Pogostemon octopus, this big plant here, has gone absolutely bonkers in this aquarium. Let me know if you guys would like a species spotlight on that plant. I think it's a really great one for experienced and new plant keepers alike. Now the Espy, or the barred pencils, Nanostomus espy that I moved outside, didn't breed, but they looked fine, so I tossed them back in here with their friends. Maybe I'll try again next year, or maybe I'll just pool a group to try and breed in a dedicated aquarium. That was sort of a disappointment, but really not that expected. So, I don't know. Let me know if you think I should try again with those guys. This aquarium is always just such a pleasure to watch, so full of activity on all levels. And it seems as though my laser cories are showing breeding behavior. So I'm hoping that they're getting close enough to maturity that I'll start to be able to pull eggs from them as well, because I'd really like to have a lot more of them. They're just so cute and wiggly. Next door is a secret project. Stay tuned for that. But I'm sure a lot of you are curious as to how the hill stream's doing. Let's take a look. And it's doing pretty great. As expected and predicted, my crypt patch really did a huge melt, but it's starting to come back. So I would imagine here in a month or so it's going to look really good. There's still quite a bit of fuzz on the driftwood, though I think it looks way better than it did. I'll give it another few weeks before I intervene, or maybe I'll even just pick up some nearate snails to add to this aquarium to munch on it should it not resolve soon. All of the fish in here are doing great, including the surprise fish that I found the other day while moving tanks. It's always funny to see what what you'll discover when you look into the recesses of aquariums that you don't disrupt very often. I'm sure many of you can't understand how I couldn't know that I had specific fish, but if you've ever kept loaches, you know that they can be a bit elusive. Speaking of loaches, look at this dude. And this is why it's so important to have a substrate that they can burrow through. That guy is half buried with just his head sticking out to eat. What a goofball. Now I just dropped some food in the purple oil cat tank, and as we look around it looks relatively empty, but I think you'll see as they detect the food in the aquarium that they come out of literally everywhere. I really think I need to set up a dedicated display aquarium for these guys, but what do you think? They're just so stinking cute.
And finally, there's the penjang that's in the Ultim Nature System aquarium. The Ficus salicifolia is having a lot of new growth. The moss is looking really, really amazing. But I have to be honest and tell you, I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to be doing to support this Monte Carlo or the hairgrass. I do see new growth, but again, I'm not entirely sure if I'm supposed to be doing anything in particular to help this along. So if you have any ideas on that, or you have experience with things like this, let me know down in the comments below. For the most part, this aquarium's been a total success. There is a small amount of algae growing on the rock, but I honestly kind of like that, and I still really, really enjoy the overall look and feel of this aquarium. Underwater, things are also going quite well. There's new growth on the Bucephalandras as well as the moss I placed in here. The crabs are doing super well and staying pretty visible. And I have 3 buried orange-eyed blue tiger shrimp that are doing super amazing. I haven't lost any, and I'm really pretty darn pleased with how this is going, especially since it's a total experiment. As always, I want to hear from you guys, and I want to take a moment to thank you for your continued support. Please make sure you're subscribed with that notification bell on so you don't miss any of my future uploads.